Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to show you the last budget that you will ever need. Plus I'm going to show you some blind spots that you might want to avoid when setting up your budget. The best way to structure a budget is to have fixed expenses, variable expenses, and the blind spots that I'll come to later. There will also be a tool that I'll explain to you at the end of this video, which you can use to track your variable expenses. So first, list all your fixed expenses, things like your bond if you own the house or rent, rates and taxes, levies. If you own multiple properties, please have separate line items for them. Medical aid, short-term insurance, life, disability, critical illness insurance. Those are what I call wealth protection. I've written here protection. Investments and retirement savings, wealth creation expenses. Then your car payment. If you do own a car and you're still paying it off, that's also a fixed expense. If it's paid off, well done, then you can skip that part. Gym, cell phone, data, Wi-Fi, whatever it might be. Some of these items have an asterisk, like cell phone. That means it could be a variable expense if you don't have a fixed contract, or life, disability, critical illness insurance. It's got an asterisk because it could be that you pay it annually instead of monthly. Variable monthly expenses, list all of those. Those are the tricky ones that you sometimes don't pick up on. Groceries, entertainment, takeaways, electricity and water. That's quite interesting. So electricity and water actually falls under living. However, the expense varies on a monthly basis. That's why you need to put it there. Fuel for your car, car washes, these are all transport costs, for example, haircuts, diverse expenses, unplanned and emergencies expenses. Now, this is quite a tricky one. The unplanned and emergencies are sometimes unavoidable. We don't know when to expect them. So have kind of a buffer for those kind of expenses on a monthly basis. Make it bigger than you actually think it's going to be, because unplanned events are the ones that can knock us down. Now let's get to the blind spots. The blind spots are the ones that usually kill anyone in a budget. They think that they have their budget under control, and then there are some kind of surprises. Let's go through to that. Now let's look at the blind spots. The blind spots are usually not listed in your fixed expenses or variable expenses, so you want to look after them carefully. I always suggest when you look at your blind spot items, have a larger budget for it rather than smaller. That makes you more conservative, as you would have to plan for a higher amount, and meaning that you will push your budget up, showing yourself that you actually don't have money to increase your expenses on other things, which is a good thing. Holidays, weddings, birthdays and gifts. I mean, these things are things that we usually don't spend on a monthly basis, and that's why we add them to the blind spots. Hobbies or large expenses. Property maintenance, it's part of your living expenses. So if you have rental property, add a rental property maintenance item for each property. Vehicle maintenance, vehicle tires and vehicle licensing, that's part of your transport cost. Now if your car has a maintenance plan, then you don't have vehicle maintenance. Vehicle tires, what I suggest with vehicle tires is, if you plan on replacing 2 tires every 2 years, then that means your budget will be 1 tire per annum, for example. However, I would rather suggest double that budget, because you might hit a pothole or have some kind of emergency where you would have to replace more than the tires that you planned for. Membership fees, those could be golf membership or whatever hobby you might have. Emergencies or unplanned expenses. Now the asterisk here is because you might have emergency or unplanned expenses under variable expenses. However, I would create a big line item here on your blind spots section, because there are large expenses that happen or that could happen in a year. For example, if you have a medical emergency, that's something that can put you out of pocket a bit, and you don't want to put that in your variable expenses, as this is more for your smaller month-to-month expenses. Timeshare levies, for example, if you have holiday timeshare, staff bonuses, if you might want to give one of your staff a bonus every year, accountant fees, domain fees if you have a website or websites that you're running, and then other could be stuff like your school fees, or if you have, for those who are parents, if you have children, could be books and school clothing, etc., that you need to buy only once a year. And then now if you add all of these up, it gives you a figure, and let's say for example the figure here is 120,000 Rand for all of these, and if you divide that by 12, that's 10,000 Rand a month. So this is important. If you add up your fixed expenses and your monthly expenses, which most people only do, that will give you X. However, if you add X plus the 10,000, you'll find that you're actually worse off than you thought you were. And that is why adding this is a good thing, to get your mind in a place where you don't spend additionally on anything new without considering the blind spots. Now, if we go back to the tool that I talked about, the tool that I'm talking about is called Toshel. It's an app that you download on the App Store or on the Google Play Store. Now, I don't have any affiliation with them, and the logo looks something like this. And the name of the app is called Toshel. I find that app to be quite useful. You can use it in any currency, you can change your currency, and what you do is on a monthly basis, or not on a monthly basis, on a daily basis, whenever you buy something, I mean, we use our smartphones every day, just add something like I've bought groceries. Just look, if your grocery slip was 700 Rand, then add 700 Rand. I usually round it up, so if I paid 700 Rand for something, I'll round it up by 10 Rand, so I'll make it 710 Rand. And that's just easy to get this, to keep track of your variable expenses. Now that will give you an amount every month. The app will calculate that automatically. Create your own categories: groceries, entertainment. You can have other categories. I find that these are quite easy to use. For example, if you have a dog or a pet, then you can maybe put your pet expenses in here, if there's monthly expense for your pet. And then what I suggest is you can either do this monthly, or you can do it every 2 months or every 3 months. You take your variable expenses and from the Toshel app, and you add it into a Excel spreadsheet. You look at those figures and you average it out over 3 months, and you can see actually how much you are spending on these things. Now it's nice to see it over a 6-month or a 12-month period, because then you really get a nice average of where you spend. And a lot of people don't really know what they're spending on. They think they're spending X, but they're spending X times 10 or X plus 10%. So it's a really good thing to do that. Thanks, I hope you enjoyed my video. If you haven't liked it yet, please press the like button. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe, and I'm looking forward to giving you some more content in future.